All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have the update on Congress today. We have a funding bill going out for Israel, Taiwan, and Ukraine. There's a $95 billion foreign aid policy, and of course, the Republicans put in the TikTok ban as part of this package so the Democrats would have very, very little chance of denying the TikTok ban, but this is how it was broken down. The TikTok vote went 360 to 58. Among the 58 people that voted against it were people like AOC, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, Maxine Waters. There were 34 Democrats and 25 Republicans. That's how the voting against the TikTok ban broke out. The vote for Taiwan aid was 385 to 34. Ukraine was 311 to 112 votes. Now, the GOP was 112 no votes and 101 yes on the Ukraine, which was kind of interesting. But we need to remember that this TikTok ban was actually put in with the Ukrainian funding and the foreign aid funding because if it was put in separately, it would not have passed. Now, all of these still have to go down the Senate. If by chance the TikTok and everything goes through, there will be about a year before it is forced sale. Now, a little bit of the details on the TikTok side of this. TikTok has 170 million users in the United States. $24 billion into the U.S. economy through the businesses and everything that is run, promoted, or TikTok-based businesses. Over 7 million TikTok-based businesses are going on. This is really, really important, but we need to understand something. TikTok is a threat to the government in general. It is a threat to the government because people like you and I can actually do our own research and show what we've discovered. This is research that the major news stations are not going to cover because we will make the choice, hopefully, to dig a little bit deeper beyond the headlines, beyond the political podium speeches. That is what true Americans should do. Many of us forget that part, but we need to understand that is why TikTok is a threat. China owns 20% of TikTok. That's 20%. That is not a lot. The other 80% is private investors. China also owns pieces of every single part of American lives. Pieces of the food industry, pieces of Yosemite National Park, for Christ's sakes. They own a little bit of everything everywhere. So pissing off China is not a smart thing to do in the first place, but they only own 20%. And the 170 million American users on TikTok only constitutes 2% of the users worldwide. So to force China to sell TikTok is kind of bullshit. TikTok already opened up a United States-based office, central hub for the United States. The first time this talk of this ban and these demands and national security concerns were brought up, their response was opening up an office here in the States, a compound here in the States with 2,500 to 3,000 United States employees run by United States citizens. All of the data is here. If they're really concerned about data and abusing data, how many times have you typed into your Gmail to something and then you've gotten advertisements for something you mentioned in your Gmail? How much is Google selling our information left and right? So this national security thing is nothing but pure bullshit. What we're talking about here is the threat. The threat of TikTok isn't national security. The threat of TikTok is information-based. It is keeping American citizens in the dark and not being able to discuss it, you to me to you, and everyone else on this platform. It has nothing to do with caring about whether or not we're making money on it or actually providing for our families through TikTok as a platform. It has to do with we are informing and educating each other, sometimes misinforming, sometimes whatever, feeding the uneducated flames. But the bottom line is It is a platform that's accessible to everybody, which makes it dangerous. Now, what we need to do as citizens of this already great country, yes, though it's pretty screwed up in areas, it is an already great country. We need to accept the fact that knowledge is power, and TikTok has given us as citizens power. And that scares the shit out of everybody in government on one level or another. That's the bottom line. And that is what the danger in TikTok is. This whole thing is a facade covering the real problem. Now, the issue is they're trying to force it to be sold outright. I'm not sure if China sells the 20% that they own, which they will not, because 20% of this huge company is a lot of money going to China. We need to actually adapt and conform. We need to put another platform. We need to follow all of the creators that you enjoy, that you believe in. Follow us on YouTube, follow us on Instagram, follow us on all the other platforms that are out there. And creators, from me to you, we need to put the work in to create profiles on platforms that we don't exist on yet. We need to fight back in that way. But until this is actually banned, or that time is up, which I believe is a year, it was 6 months, they've got it to a year, we still have time on TikTok as it is. So let's make the most of it. Let's educate each other. Let's stop fighting over bullshit. And let's look into the things we're upset about. Let's research rather than attack each other, because now is the time for the United States of America to actually become united. Both sides of the aisle. We can agree to disagree, like the old days. Not as far back as women losing their voting rights or, body autonomy or anything like that. Not that far back, even though that's where some people want to take it. Let's go back to the time when we can disagree on politics and still be friends. We can disagree on something and still carry on a conversation peaceably. How about that? Let's go back to that time in America, because your opinion and my opinion are equally as important. We choose whether or not to educate ourselves on the subjects that we discuss. That is a personal choice, and that is where the discussions usually part ways. Sometimes, platforms like this give us an opportunity to come together. And that's what these TikTok communities have done. That's why I'm so grateful for the Revolution Washington family and the network that we have created here, which is on YouTube, which is on Instagram. Look us up. Follow me. We are expanding this network out to continue this conversation, to continue the education that based, communication-based, we are Americans, we work together based conversations that I started doing videos for in the first place. I'm very proud of what's developed here at Revolution Washington. I'm very proud. It was completely unintentional. I was just doing research and talking and speaking my piece. If I'm helping people, great. If I'm pissing people off, I'm sorry. That's not my intention. But the bottom line is I try my best to research what I discuss. That's why it took me a little while to get this video out with this TikTok stuff. I have a list of all of the representatives that voted against this ban. They range from AOC to even Marjorie Taylor Greene voted against it. Obviously, there are different reasons why people voted the way they will, but we need to understand Ukraine needed the help because they are at a very, very important part right now where Russia is just about to take them over. The aid we are giving these countries isn't pallets of cash. It is ammunitions that we're not using. It's military equipment that we don't use. And once we send it, we have to replace it. And once we replace it, that's more American jobs. That's more money in the American economy. And the equipment that's going out is like a pay as you go. It's like on layaway. They pay us back at the end of all this. This isn't pallets of cash for free that we could be feeding our homeless or taking care of people within our borders with. So stay diligent, stay educated, and we need to be kind. to both sides of the aisle, because we are in this together. And we're in this for the long haul, because I want this country to last.